Have you ever dimmed your light because of someone else? That maybe you saw someone and you wanted to fit in and be normal, and so you stopped being awesome? I get it. I've been there. Today, that's exactly what we're going to talk about. When that happens, what you need to do, and how to fucking stop doing that so you can live your purpose. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Coach Kacy, your head to heart coach, and I'm so excited that you're here today for this conversation. So let's jump right into it. So, initially, I talked about how, I asked you, have you ever dimmed your light? And if you're still watching, the answer is probably yes. So let's start with, what does it mean to dim your light? So dimming your light can look like many different things. It can look like not doing something because you think that others are going to be upset or offended, or maybe it's not part of your norm, or that's not what good girls do. That's not what you were taught. Traditionally, for me, it looked like, well, if I need to be successful, I need to fit in, I got to go to med school. I got to do the things that my parents need me to do. And dimming my light, although externally it looked like I was this bright light living my most authentic life because I was doing all these things that the world thought was successful, dimming my light meant conforming to other people's expectations of me and how I should be living my own life. Another example is when I was in grade 11, I remember that I was a extremely good student, just to be really real with you. And if you are watching this and you're an ambitious woman who's in leadership, you probably can really relate, right? Like being that A+ determined person who just gets shit done. It's kind of what we do in our day-to-day life now too. But going back to my story, so I'm in high school. I do my homework, my chemistry homework. It was super hard, but I got it done and I was so proud of myself. And the next day I came to school and the teacher asked us a question that was pretty intense. And it was all organic chemistry stuff and I knew it. But I looked around and no one else knew the answer. They didn't raise their hand. And neither did I. I didn't want to be the one that raised her hand. I didn't want to be the one that said, ooh, I did it, pick me, because I didn't want to be known as the outcast that knew it all or had it together. And then I look back and I think of that 16, 17 year old version of myself and I think, why? Why has society programmed you to be a NPC? Why do you think that you have to fit in with all the bullshit of all the people around you that are asleep at the wheel? You're fucking awake, so why are you acting asleep? But the challenge, right, is that we are a species that is very much all about survival and being in a tribe and community. And if we do something that puts us outside of that, it essentially means death. And our ego doesn't want that. But what ends up happening over time as you dim your light is you start to become more and more of a shell, right? You don't do the things that actually light you up. And what ends up happening over time is you're like, well, what even lights me up? And there's so many people that I work with, so many women, that when I'm like, what do you find joy in? They're like, I don't even remember anymore. And my biggest question is, well, what did you love to do when you were a kid? And you guys, for me, for a really long time, I didn't even share stories. I didn't do any of this stuff. But I think back to when I was a kid and I'm like, I used to love writing and poems and sharing stories. And my cousins would call me and basically I would just tell stories all day. And now as a creator, as a coach, as an artist, I am a storyteller, right? So it's interesting how things work out. But kind of have to go through this dark night of the soul period where dimming your light becomes this thing that is actually stopping you from reaching your full potential. And over time, dimming your light can also look like putting yourself in environments where you're not challenged, in environments where maybe you just show up and you're kind of doing your day-to-day norm and you're good at it, but you're not fully stepping up and fully showing up. And so dimming your light, as you can tell, means many different things. Could be in an unhealthy relationship with money, with a spouse, with yourself, not putting the content out there that you know you want to create, or not saying the thing that you know is going to piss people off, but doing it anyways. And it's not that you got to be like an asshole to like shine your light. It's just that you can't like essentially worry, or let me rephrase it. You can be mindful of the fact that you're going to, you know, be imposing on other people's perspectives of reality, and yours might be different, but you can't let that hold you back. So if I look back at that example of being 17 and not raising my hand, right? This version of me would be like, I fucking know the answer. Yeah, I'm a great student because I studied. What the fuck did you guys all do all evening? Play video games? Great, good for you, but I studied, so I know my shit. And that's kind of like how I'm approaching life and business now. I've been in so many environments and communities where people are just kind of mediocre, and it's okay. That's their reality. That's the dark night of the soul they got to go through. But if I stay in a circumstance like that, where if I raise my hand, I'm going to be ostracized, then I am consciously choosing that, which actually makes it harder. So over time, it's like you get to a point where you get to make a choice where, is the pain of dimming my light greater, or is the pain of shining greater? Which matters more? Which hurts more? And once you reach a point where it's actually harder to like not be yourself, it's harder to not post that video, it's harder to not do the thing, right, that your soul wants you to do. It's harder to not quit the job, to not let the relationship go. You'll know you're transitioning from the space of fear to actual sovereignty. You are becoming the most authentic version of you. And here's the thing, right? You have dreams. I'm sure you do. You have a big vision for your life. Like there's this thing that you know you're meant to create. There's a calling, there's something deep within you. But the thing is like you can't go from here to there overnight. Even though it seemingly looks like some people showed up there, it doesn't work that way. Even if your dream stared you in the face tomorrow, even if your future husband, your soulmate showed up, would you be ready? Would you be the human being that is ready to receive that dream into your existence? You may say yes, but honestly, for most people, it's a no, because it's a lot of internal work that you need to do to be relentless in your pursuit of greatness, to become stable enough within yourself to say, I'm ready for this. And it's those little moments, those micro moments where you make decisions where you know you're scared and you're not sure how the path is going to go, but you are so committed to your light. You're so committed to walking this path of your soul, and you know that it's going to lead somewhere good eventually, but it's just a matter of walking the path of your light without knowing the how. That's how I have manifested so many incredible things in my life, but it wasn't easy. But I had to make a choice that I'm not going to dim my light anymore. I'm not going to pretend that I'm somebody that I'm not, just so that I don't make them uncomfortable. And here's the funny thing. It's like, who is them really? Like, who are these people that I think are out there judging me? It's like this fake council somewhere. It's just in our head. And yeah, there might be haters out there and people that are going to talk shit about your content or your relationship, or it doesn't matter. But this bigger community of they're going to judge me doesn't actually exist. It's all in your head. And so dimming your light is actually an opportunity for you to step into your greatness, right? So if you've been with me up until this point, you recognize the challenge that lies when you're not living in your truth, the challenge that is having a vision, but also being afraid to fully own it. But here's what you can do, right? And I kind of talked about this a couple minutes ago, but just to kind of go back into it, you just take the next step. You raise your hand when you know the answer, and you don't worry about the next thing or what's going to happen or being ostracized. You say hi to that cute guy in the coffee shop because it feels fun. You post that social media content because you're like, you know what, even though it might be challenging for me to put out there, and oh my God, what if my dad or my mom or my father-in-law sees this? But you put it out there anyways because it's your truth. It's your light. And your light, when you start to honor it, becomes this bright, beautiful vessel for other people to show up to. As you can tell, this is something I'm incredibly passionate about, because for me, I think about, what about all those people that walked the earth but died with their dreams inside of them? What if they had had the courage to live their truth? And what if today I have that very opportunity? And in order to make the most of my human existence on planet Earth right now, this is my purpose, is to just show my light, is to just be a space of information and integration and love for people. And so that is my calling, is to push you with love to pursue your light, to pursue your greatness. And your blueprint of what it means to live from your head to your heart, to move and take that journey, is going to be totally different than someone else's. So a part of owning your light means you're not looking at others and thinking, oh my God, they're doing better than me, or their life looks better. Judgment doesn't exist in the realm of light. It's all just information. And when someone else is living their truth, you get to be like, wow, they're living their truth, and so can I. What does mine look like? So I'm going to invite you today to really take this information you've learned today and feel into, well, what is the next step for me? What is it? Is it, it could be a bigger step or it could be a smaller step. Either way, it's an action. And I want you to think about, what is an aligned action? What is something that's coming from my soul? Is it to maybe start looking for a new job? Is it to create some maybe space in your relationship? Maybe it's to put up a dating profile, or maybe, like I said, it's to post something on social media, whatever it is. Or it could be, go meditate, go journal, go tune into the light within you and explore it. Give it the space, give it the time. The funny thing is, and I think about this often, is like, so many of us are taught that self-care is this thing that is so important and you got to do it. And yeah, I agree. But to the majority of the public, it's like, go to the spa or get your nails done, which is awesome. But what about self-care for your soul? So when you give your soul the space to shine through and shine your light, it's like a spa day for your soul. You don't necessarily need to get your nails done all the time to shine your light or to be aligned with your truth. It can help you feel better, but my invitation is for you to go inwards, to dig a little bit deeper, and to go to a place where maybe you haven't been before, but it's calling. So if you got value out of this video, I'd love to hear your insights. I'd love to know, what is your truth? What is your inner calling? What is your light calling you to create? What's the next step? And as always, I'd love to be YouTube friends. So please hit the subscribe button so you can stay tuned and just learn more about moving from your head to your heart. I'm so grateful for you. This is, a relatively new channel, and I appreciate your love, your support, and your encouragement, because you showing up and you even just being conscious in this vibration has me want to share and give more of my light, because there's a space that is willing to receive it. So I honor you. I love you, and keep shining your light, babe.